life could be better? How many of you feel that you think you can execute your life to be better, but you just don't know what are the perfect or what decisions to take to make it work? So I get it. This is something that I have faced several times myself. And today in this video, we're going to talk about how you can apply design thinking into your life to achieve a kind of lifestyle design that will work for you. And this is probably going to be a video series that I'm going to explore applying lifestyle design in my life. And before we begin, let me just introduce myself quickly. I'm Mohith. I'm an architect, and now I'm an entrepreneur. And I just discovered that how I can apply design thinking to almost anything. And I'm going to have a test run with my life and my lifestyle. So this is going to be fun. So in this video, we're going to talk about three things: the concept of design thinking, like how do you develop like a design thinking project such that it works for you. So like the three aspects of this video are again like one is the concept, the case study, and the prototype. So that's how like design thinking is simplified. And the book I would recommend that you make this thing work is using this book called Design Your Life by, I hope you can see this, Design Your Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. So both of these people, they teach design thinking in Stanford, and one of them is even the co-founder of Electronic Arts, the Need for Speed games, the FIFA, these ones, EA Games, Challenge, everything. EA game, it's in the game. That guy, yeah. So the other book that you need to check out is Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman. He's the person who started out as a psychologist, but then he discovered that he should apply his his research, which was the psychology of everyday things, into the design of everyday things. So design thinking is a really fascinating subject for people who want to like explore how they can apply in their processes or products or services to make better products and better services which work for you. So there is an aesthetic sense in design thinking whereas of course there's a distinction between aesthetics and design, but consider that there is something about aesthetics which is an X factor which attracts the person or the user. Like in design terminology, a user is somebody who interacts with whatever you have designed. And like it's like the old adage that attractive things seem to work better. So like consider the best case study for this are the Apple products. Like even though like there's so many people who are almost militant with how much they dislike Apple products based on the hardware and stuff. Now clearly like Apple has had that market domination and people love it. Like even if you do not approve of Apple products, you must admit that the UI, the hardware, everything, like it is so seamlessly integrated. Now how do you achieve this? It is through design thinking. And since the inception of Apple computers, like design thinking has been a constant thing. Like since the first Macintosh in 1984, the Apple mouse, it was designed by the same guys who wrote the IDEO is a company which writes these awesome books. And Designing Your Life, right, the one by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. In fact, I think Dave Evans was the CEO of that company which designed the Apple mouse the first time. Because back in the day, just like a segue here, is that when Xerox first came up with the graphic user interface of moving the mouse was apparently too cumbersome. Like you had to like remove it, and it was only for those computer hobbyists. But Apple designed it in such a way that it was for everyone, for the rest of us. That was what Steve Jobs gave the design brief to the IDEO people. That this is the mouse, make it work as if it is for the rest of us. So how do you come up with why am I taking this project on now? Like what is it about designing your life has sounds so attractive to me? So it's about taking a new look into the personal development industry, where it is all about you do this, you do that, they're like small fixes. It's like you are trying to fix something which is like, putting duct tape on something which is broken. You're not going deep into the integration of it, looking at it in a holistic, integrated way. So I have tried several things, all right? Like there are some things which are a foundation for me looking into a design thinking of applications towards individuals, towards teams, towards organizations. So when I can start from the individual and apply design thinking to them, it's about how they can design their lifestyle and their profession, like to have that ultimate work-life balance, which seems to be a myth in a lot of business magazines these days. However, um, Designing Your Life, the book, right, by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, they start from this fundamental aspect of self-analysis. You start by looking at what the site is. Like an architect first, before he begins a project, he looks for a site, or he starts with the site, and we do a site analysis. Similarly, you start with self-analysis. So how you do that is, according to the book, is that you answer a couple of questions. Uh, so the questions that you need to answer is like there are two things you got to write. One is your work view and one is your life view. So in your work view, you may have to go a little bit deep on what your values really are. So one of the books that I would further reference to is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. So consider that who you, whatever you set out to do in life, like it's your doing, right? And you doing it for a result. So there is always a result that you want to have, and to have that result, you got to do something. To do that result, you got to be somebody. So how we usually think is that only when I have this result, then I get to be that person. Consider that when you be that person, then the result comes to you. One of the books that I would further reference here is The Happiness Advantage by Sean Acker. Sean Acker used to be in one of the student faculty bodies in Harvard University. And apparently, what he noticed or observed is that it's not the students who work very hard and achieve results are happy, all right? It's actually put reverse. The happy students seem to be the one who achieve the best in academics. So which is something that you got to think about, all right? Like it's all about it in the, I would really recommend that you check out his TED Talk. Further, in one of Earl Nightingale's recordings, like Stranger's Secret, right? He also talks about how success doesn't come like you're not successful because you have money. You have money because you're successful. It's like the chicken or the egg thing, like paradoxical in some way. So you got to start from the very deep. Okay, like that's why you got to write life view, work view. These are two separate documents. Like it's just not much, 250 words. Take about 20 to 30 minutes, and you're gonna answer these questions like, for work view, start with the work view first. What is work for you? What does work for you mean? And why do you think people should work? And I would suggest that you go like a bit deeper on what your view of the world for work is. So how does work relate to the individual? And it's very easy to think about it, like, hey, this is very simple, man. Like, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to write this down. It's like, yeah, you work because you gotta make money, or you work because you want to develop your skills, or you got to learn something, whatever it is, right? It is like, it may seem intuitive, but it may not be the same as what somebody else thinks. So whatever it seems obvious to your mind, just go ahead and write it down. Like William James, the psychologist, he used to say that he doesn't know what he's thinking about until he starts writing it down. So I suggest you do the same. So further, you got to write like, how does work relate to you, and just keep on going further and explore what work is for you. Basically, what you're looking for is your philosophy of work. So for example, for a person who would consider himself like work, like the Protestant work ethic, where capitalism is supposed to be built on, is like you work so that you work in this life, so that in the afterlife or in the next life you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, which is heaven basically. So that is something that is in the value system of a couple of people who are like the current value system, I suppose so, because you work now to get your fruits of your labor later in your life. Whereas the other thing would be like philosophy would be you find a work that you love and you never have to work a day in your life. So something of that kind. So whatever it is that works for you, go ahead and write it down. Because there are some people, by some people I say like a percentage of the population who go by um, the work view of Cal Newport, who wrote "Be so good that you can't they can't ignore you," in which he talks about passion is bullshit. Like you don't need passion. You just gotta start from the level zero. You become a master at your job, whatever it is. Do deliberate practice and reach the top. Be so good they can't ignore you. It's a great book. I love that book, by the way. At the same time, on the other work view, it's Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk, where he talks about passion is everything. You like if you're doing something that you don't like, then what are you going to do? Like life is short. You got to find something that is worth doing. So there are many other. Okay, I don't want to put it in a binary thing. There are many more people who think differently. Like they have different work views. So here we're talking about yours. So go ahead and write it down. And your life view is like you're really like capital L life. Like what is life for you? Like what is what is the meaning of life? What is the purpose of life? Some would write life is empty and meaningless. Life is like there is no purpose and etc. And some would write like life has a lot of meaning. There's a lot of purpose, etc. 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 So the point is not whether you're right or wrong. The point is that you just write it. Okay, just write those two things and you start like comparing your work view and life view and see if there are something which complement each other and see if there are some where it clashes. So the places where they complement each other and where they clash is your opportunity for you to develop something, which again you have to write it down too. There's going to be a lot of writing in writing exercises in my videos, I suppose, where you gotta like see like what it is that would work for you, right? Like you start discovering some things which might propel you forward towards what could be a next step. Uh, for example, like consider a civil engineer who's like working in a civil engineering construction company, and he finds out that like a lot of his he's not enjoying his job. There's something that's not working for him. So like somebody tells him, hey, like you're a civil engineer, maybe you don't like to work under somebody. Why don't you start your own business? That's how it works. And at the same time, his father-in-law or whatever says that maybe, hey, you are a civil engineer, you must be good at math. Why don't you try like stockbroking? Because you must be good at math, right? Being a stockbroker and doing stock trading, the same thing. It's math only, like go do that. But when he's starts to like write down his life view, work view, he might start discovering that, hold on, I actually like working on civil engineering. I actually like working on these civil engineering problems. What is not working for me is the administrative task. Me actually like talking to the clients and making all of that administrative decision, that doesn't work for me. So what he can do is, instead of going for that MBA to start or whatever to start his own business that he was going for, he might double down on the civil engineering bit, get a PhD or whatever in civil engineering, and he might people might leave him alone just to work on the problems of civil engineering and stuff, and he might move on. Similarly, like for me in my case, like I do love working on like making design like design brainstorming concepts and stuff, but I do not find myself really enjoying the construction bit of it. Like as an architect, like I see construction as the biggest bottleneck in architecture right now. And so I found that, hold on, like is there a way that I can still design but I don't have to deal with all the construction stuff? And turns out there was, and like I could go towards that. Like I could go towards helping or consulting people in design thinking, and further like design thinking as a whole. What do you say? A school of thought or a design thinking as a whole industry was open up for me, and out of me being a virtue of an architect. So these are some of the things to start to discover, and most importantly, what you start to observe is you really start to have self-analysis. So on the top of like the oracle of Delphi in Greece, the board on the top used to say "Gnotis Theaton," which means know thyself. So he who knows himself knows the world. That's the Socrates, the Greek philosophy kind of thing. So first, like be aware about what your thoughts really are, about telling you. And there will be furthermore like self-analysis exercises I'll be talking about. However, in my journey, right, like first what I came across is the factor 5 analysis of personality. There's a great book about it called by Daniel Nettle called Personality: Why We Are the Way We Are. So where your personality is divided into 5 aspects, and I took this test in this website called self-understandingmyself.com. The test will probably cost you 900 rupees. It was 900 rupees in 2018 when I took it. I'm not sure about the price now. However, doing that test really like opened my eyes about like what kind of personality I have, and that gave me the right kind of framework to make decisions. Like quickly, like let me just summarize you the factor 5 analysis. For like it's ocean. Ocean is the acronym. O is openness to new experiences. C is conscientiousness. E is extroversion. A is agreeableness. N is neuroticism. So out of all the 5, right, let me start with openness to experiences because this is the one that's most important to me. So the common popular belief is that human beings as a whole, everybody is creative. But be that as it may, excuse me, statistically speaking, not many utilize their creative calling, or maybe they don't choose to. But statistically speaking, we know there's a couple of people in the population who not only like make art, but they read books, they visit museums, they explore new things, and it seems like there's some amount, quarter of the population or 1/3 of the population that do that consistently, by the way. And it would seem that openness to new experiences area, right, the factor in a personality, those people seem to be the most creative. So, and they are also most likely to be leaning towards the left. So, when it comes to political alignment. So, when I learned that, okay, I am like above average percentile out of a given population in openness to new experiences, almost 70%, it actually made sense to me. It was like not a surprise because I'm somebody who seems to be more into the intellectual pursuits of reading a lot of books and making a lot of art. Again, openness to new experiences does not measure your IQ. It only measures your inkling, as in what you are being attracted to in some ways. And IQ, like it's not correlated here. So like I may have like average IQ, but openness to new experiences, I'm like attracted to such things. So even though like I'm attracted to physics, I don't get like some of the physics formulas or physics, physics and math formulas yet. Either way, using the design thinking to my life would mean that I would need to have a concept, and I would need to have a case study on whose life do I model on, and what would be a prototype for me. So another thing about my personality, which I would like to talk about, is conscientiousness. Conscientiousness is like the personality trait which is the highest, the best predictor for success is if you are highly conscientious. Highly conscientious people, it is divided in 2 parts: your orderliness and your hold on, I forgot, industriousness. Yeah, orderliness and industriousness. So it seems that I am 50 percentile in orderliness, but I am below average in industriousness, which is 30%. In some ways, creative people, if they are low in conscientiousness, they stop judging their work. That's why I have a lot of bad paintings on Instagram. So it could be like, if people who are both open to new experiences and they're both conscientiousness, like they are like, I don't know where those crazy people are, because not only are they creative, but they also like work damn hard, at their job or whatever. So I suppose like, it will be interesting to see what those kind of people they are. However, people who are high and open to new experiences and low in conscientiousness, they seem to be able to be entrepreneurs. That's what my report told me. Like, if you have like research or data which is contrary to that, please let me know. I would love to read it. Right. So when it came to that, okay, like it totally made sense because as a conscientious person, as a person who has scored low in conscientiousness, normal goals and things don't seem to work for me. My projects are always submitted just in a deadline, almost late, and like not just one or two, like almost all of them, it seems to be. So what I found was, okay, a model. If I had to design my lifestyle or my life using design principles, I need to set up a system where it works for me such that I would be able to navigate the whole experience such that I do the things I want to do. So that's where Atomic Habits by James Clear came in. Like, I think that methodology really worked for me when it came to applying my goals into a system, into that. Uh, Case in point is two things that I really am passionate about. Is one is to make art, digital paintings, and another is meditation. So at the first, the my digital art was garbage. All right, I didn't even have a graphic tablet, so I started sketching. But by 2014, 2019, December 14th, I started, and now I'm going to reach 1 year of making digital painting by December 14th to 2021. Oh yeah, 2021. So I'm sorry, it was supposed to be 2020 December 14th, and since then I've been making art. So just a change of date. Regardless, further, what I saw was that if I was able to make myself go easy on meditation, that I did not need to focus so hard. What if I just set a timer, just sat in one place for 1 hour and pretended to meditate, but I could not really focus on it. So soon I started to build a habit that I started to meditate for real. So these are some of the things, like Atomic Habits is about making it so easy for you that you start building a habit as you go along. And one last thing before I finish this video, and I'll see you in the next one, is check out this video by Frank Kern called Core Influence. There is an exercise called the Perfect Day exercise. It's basically a design thinking problem only. Like if there was an opportunity where there was no limitations, physical, geographic, or otherwise, and you had no consequences, what would your perfect day look like? Like, where would you live? I mean, we are talking about the near future here. So this prompted me to look for a way, if there's a way that I could answer this question well. Because I've already written two drafts of this exercise. And what I noticed, one of the design thinking's major attractive feature is you get to come up with a lot of ideas. And that's the thing, you need to come up with so many ideas out of brainstorming. And number two is you never fall in love with your first idea. First prototypes, they don't always work because your brain is not designed for you to think deeper into it. See, your brain will give you like a quick answer and you'll go back to making beer commercials. Like, about you living the life, being a rock star or whatever, like what I'm talking about, right? The beer commercials, they seem to show an idealized view of life. But mostly, like, people don't really want those kind of beer commercial, lives. If you really start applying design thinking, you begin to see like what kind of life is it that would really work for you. So I'll see you tomorrow. I think this recurring YouTube streaming thing is working for me. And it's been a while since I've started making these subsequent consecutive YouTube videos. And I think I'm going to get back into it. So see ya. Signing out.